trying hard to speak and fighting with my weak hand.
In general, the bigger you get as a band, the more stuff gets in the way of the actual, the four of you. Whether it's, all the kind of machinery around you gets bigger and bigger, and there's more things to think about and more things to get in the way of just four people playing music together.
I think what we were really guilty of, and for the first part of this record, was kind of treating the studio as a bit of a day job and sort of going from 9 till 5 and then going out for a nice meal in the evening.
But that's no way to make great music. But I think we were all just enjoying sort of clocking in and clocking out for a while.
Well, we did that for quite some time, really. Probably about 10 months. Then we realised that a lot of it sounded like we'd never played it together. Had no atmosphere, no sort of tension in it.
It came to a point where we realised we weren't really working as a band anymore, and it could have been just session musicians going in there.
Except crap session musicians.
Crap session musicians.
We had to go through that to get to where we were. We had to experience the real feeling of separation, and we were quite disparate for a while and didn't really hang out with each other outside of the studio. I think it was really important to realise what we'd lost in order to get it back.
What we had to do is really find ourselves again as a band and remember what it was like to just be in, Johnny's bedroom with a few guitars and amps and just really go back to basics. And then that's when things started to really happen.
We were suddenly getting this incredible feeling again. We were like, well, why are we getting this incredible feeling? And Guy or Will said, well, it's because we're playing together in a room. And there's no technology in here, there's no assistants or producers or managers or groupies or anything like that, and it was just feeling amazing. So then we said, right, well, we've got to re-record all those other songs then.
When we started re-recording things, we were able to do it in a performance-based way and to throw ourselves into, the verses and then the choruses in a much more dynamic sort of way.
Johnny was pushing himself to do new things, and Will was pushing himself to do new things.
And we got really excited again about being a band and became much better friends.
It suddenly made us realise, wow, the best feeling is when the four of us are just trying to push each other and inspire each other. And that's what we've got to get back to, and that's what we subsequently did.
So when we started working again in the studio, it was all hours, sometimes, not coming out till 3, 4 in the morning. And you can't switch off. It's got to be that sort of clear focus that you have to get through it.
Then we finished the majority of the album in the last 3 months or so, wasn't it?
We pretty much re-recorded and did the whole album in 3 months. I started doing it, not sort of doing any work for an exam and doing it all the night before. I think we had about 60 ideas in total that we were sort of working from in this record.
I think we actually recorded close to 20, I think 18 or 20 actually fully recorded.
It's quite a long process to kind of narrow that down to the 12 that we've picked.
I heard that if you laid all our discarded songs next to each other, it would go to Birmingham and back. There's a lot of them.
What if there was no light? Nothing wrong, nothing right.
If you could trace the family tree back of some of our songs, they would all have relatives in these songs that we were doing, like when we were touring, and just little ideas for riffs and
that's
old
true,
beats.
or beats, yeah, that's true.
It's just like a big kind of strange genealogy of the
It's
the
true,
songs.
right. To get to the finished standing up man version of the song, we've been through all the stages of the evolution process.
Don't want me there by your side.
The songs really fell into two categories on the album. They were sort of either the experimental ones, which sort of came around in a sort of more bitty way, but this What If was a sort of more traditional sort of song in the sense that Chris wrote the whole thing on a piano and showed us the whole song, and there was nothing left to do, and it was just a case of just then sort of working on it as a band and writing sympathetic parts for it, and it was really quite a quick process.
Every song that is on the record has had the stamp of all of us on it, even if it's Will saying, I'm not going to come in till 2 minutes 30. sometimes people not playing is a sign of them having done their...
I'm the best not playing drummer in the world.
Yeah, you're the
No
best.
one doesn't play like me.
That she don't want me there by your side.
I think it's great. It's one of the most instant ones. If I'm honest, I think it'll be one of the ones that people will remember. I think it'll be, you know,
Do you think it'll be on the best of?
I think it might just make the best of.
That's right. How can you know it when you don't even try? That's right.
I think we're always aware how important a part of a band's life is to play live, and I think there's always that subconscious thing in your mind that, you know, you're going to be doing festivals and you're going to be playing big shows, and it's always great to have a few sort of songs in your set list that are really sort of high energy because it's so exciting to play.
My song is love.
The Message is the last song to be written for the album, and we recorded it in about a day and a half or something, right at the end, rushing. And when we'd done it, we knew we had the right mixture of songs. I think it just felt we needed another one, and that one just came along.
You don't have to be alone.
One night in the middle of the night, I just sat up in bed, totally wired, and something in my head was just telling me, go downstairs, go downstairs, go downstairs. I said, I don't want to go downstairs, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. It said, no, go downstairs. It was like, you know, it was an argument with myself. I went downstairs, totally nude, and I sat down with the same guitar that had just a few months earlier, a month earlier, given us the end of Square One. And this song just arrived in like 4 minutes, and I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it. I'm incredibly proud of it, and it then meant that the record could be finished.
And I'm not gonna take it back. And I'm not gonna say I don't mean that.
I really like it because a lot of the songs are very dense and densely, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on, and then this is a nice space to this song.
The sentiment of the lyrics again are just very, very direct. It's not one of the songs which is kind of more abstract lyrically, and it's just really powerful. Quite an interesting story behind Talk Really, because it's the first time we've used a melody from someone else's music, and it takes the melody from Kraftwerk's Computer Love.
It's one of those things when you hear a melody and you think, God, I wish we had written that, or that would sound great with Johnny playing it on a guitar.
But of course you can't, because it's already been written, and so the next thing you can do is nick it.
Yeah, and write them a nice letter asking if you can use it.
Obviously, Kraftwerk are quite mysterious people. I had no idea if they knew who Coldplay were, so I had to basically explain myself in the same way that I would have had to do when I was a 13-year-old schoolboy. So I was like, Dear Ralph, my name is Chris Martin, I'm 28. I sing in a band called Coldplay. You know, it was great, and it was a pen pal letter. And then, luckily, there was a German guy in the studio who translated it into German, so I wrote it out again in German. Lieber Ralph, ich bin ein Coldplayer. You know. And we wrote to him, and I thought, well, this is never going to happen.
Future, where will I be?
And he said yes.
He said, you know,
Or yeah.
he said